there is a tiny little heater core on the other side of this that I need to take off. Check this thing out. This is a 1946 heater core. You got your coolant in, coolant out. How neat is that? You've got nuts on both sides of this so that you can space this away. It basically just draws air into the side that's mounted right there. And then you can see there's a little fan in there that pulls air across that heater coil. This thing is heavy. There's also a spot for a duct so that you could close these and have a little square duct to direct some air somewhere else. This thing is neat, man. This thing is really neat. I guess the motor is attached to this thing. You would take it apart with the 4 screws around it, and it's got little wires for the fan. Really simple. Wonder what else I could use this for. Not my rock crawling project. Let's see how much this weighs. Almost 10 pounds, 9.8 pounds. I don't know what all they have inside there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. A little crease right here. I could hit that with something. This also opens and closes. This is another airflow deal. I can straighten that out, probably get this to work. If I could free up the hinges. If I could get that to pop out. Oh yes, there it is, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you, and do not curb your enthusiasm, my 1946 rat rod rock crawler named TreeCatcher. Let me throw a seat in there. Now, this might not be the seat that I use. Maybe I'll get a lower one, maybe I'll get a taller one, who knows. See what I can see from the side. Oh yes, I can see. It's beautiful. I think this would be a good spot to sit too. Now technically, for a single seater, you could sit right in the middle. But if you did that, I'd have to lean way out to see that tire. You could fit a passenger in here. I was thinking this is a really narrow cab, but somebody could sit next to you. You just have to do some creative shifter stuff. People in the 40s, I assume, were really short because my feet are touching the firewall. You can see my foot down here. And so there's really no room between my feet and the firewall for pedals. So in order to get some pedals on this thing, I'm either going to be sitting diagonally. I'm going to have to curl my legs up like one of those little kid buggies, or I'm going to have to extend the foot box. It's going to be even worse if I lower the seat. If I lower the seat, I'm going to be sitting in the fetal position in this thing. What I can do is, since I have to make like a space for the engine and everything, I can take the front of this and extend it out a couple inches to make room for throttle and stuff like that later. I am certainly open to suggestions on this build. I've been watching a lot of rat rod projects. I watched Rudy's project, making that lowrider thing out of something he found in the desert or his friend gave him or something like that. He's about halfway through it at the time that I'm filming this, and all the dirt that's fallen off of this thing, I bet you this thing has at least a pound or two of rust on it anyway. There's some weight reduction for you. Assuming after taking out that heater, being 9.8 pounds, this thing probably weighs 295 pounds now, which means it's lighter than me. This was broken when I got it. I'm gonna put some gloves on and start taking this window out because we don't need a window. Just look at this carriage, man. This is so cool. This is gonna be an awesome build. I have an old steam trunk to mount behind this. All right. So this seal is the type where you could pop out this ribbon. Maybe I should try that and take this out in smaller pieces. You basically pull, it's a two-piece, yeah, that just cracked. It's a two-piece seal where you should be able to pull this middle one out, and that kind of holds the glass in. But it's so stiff. It's honestly so stiff that I don't know if I'll be able to even get that out of there. Yeah, see, if I try to pull this out, it just cracks off. So I have no choice really but to this is interesting. You could tell this glass has been replaced since this vehicle was made, and obviously it would be kind of weird for glass to last that long anyway. But you can see how it's kind of held together by a laminate, and it's held together by a laminate, but it didn't shatter. And the glass that they put in automotive vehicles nowadays are designed to shatter, and so you'll see like more spider webbing in it. So you can almost like carbon date the automotive glass when it breaks, because you could tell by the way it breaks. I'm gonna just take this out, and that's gonna get thrown away. But now I've got this edge right here, and if you're a fan of Black and Blue Garage, you already know what's gonna happen with that. All you gotta do is get some edge trim and cover up that stuff. And it looks really good. There'll be plenty of wind airflow through the cab in the summertime, which will be really nice. I'll just have to order another batch of this stuff. I might want to get a smaller size so that it stays on there really good, so I don't have to use glue or nothing. So this is pretty cool. This says 2-speed axle, park in low, and then get high and low, and then this lever is supposed to move back and forth, but it is stuck. This lever I'll probably leave there as decoration or to use for something else, maybe. Old trucks from the 40s, they had transmissions, but they also had 2-speed axles, and you could turn your axle into a high and low gear. If you look here, that lever has a shaft that goes all the way out to the front of the firewall, and it pulls on this rod, and that's supposed to push this push rod in here and move a valve to kind of actuate whatever hoses or cables or whatever went to the back. And that's really cool and all, but it's gotta go. On that. Pretty neat little valve. Not sure how it was activated. You got a hose coming in on this side. There's a little fitting on this side, looks like it was for a hose, but then on the bottom of this, you've got this little cover, and on the inside of that, looks like a screen and a filter. Yeah, that's so weird. Somebody who watches this is going to know the answer, and it's going to be really fascinating. I just can't with the gloves, man. I can't do it. Sorry. Rockford. Got a big A on it. It says SP Company. I bet you they don't make these anymore. Now this, I bet you this is one big solid relay. Let's investigate that. Now what's really interesting is like that they had stuff like this in the 40s or in the late 40s. You can see on the back, it's got these metal strips that connect to the back of the case, and then it also has these little wires or metal sticks that connect, like, so this one's connected to the back of this case and the back of this, and then these two are connected by another little, you know, pin or wire that's riveted, and everything's rivets. Let's see if I open this up. Holy moly! There's an old seal that's like really dry and crusty. But look at that. This is like a relay from the 40s. Search, maybe this deserves its own video. So you would get ground from somewhere, possibly through the straps that I broke off unbolting this, and that probably grounds right to the body. And then you can see that this contact right here kind of moves open and closed. It's an electromagnet, and it's all 6-volt stuff. Here's a relay that you would see today, and this is considered to be the larger relay because they have even smaller ones. I just don't have one on hand. Basically, you have these contacts, and on the inside of this, maybe I can get that open. Let me open this up. I'll show you the comparison contrast to like the relays we have today, the relays we had in the 40s. Little plastic cover. Yep, here we go. Pop that open. Same concept, really. This one uses an inline fuse, so there's a little extra bit. So pretend this isn't there, and this is like this would be considered a large relay in 2026. And basically, if we can find the switch, here it is. If I can get the lighting where I need it to be, basically this would move just like the big one. And then these little coils here is your electromagnet. You'd have a couple of wires that energize this magnet and would pull this switch closed, and then your other 2 pins would send power to whatever, you know, your rigid lights or your light bar, or, you know, whatever, your boom box or whatever you have in your vehicle today. And you compare that to like a relay. Here's a relay from 1946, and here's a relay from 2026. The size difference is crazy. I just get a kick out of that. That's a relay, a 6-volt relay. That's nuts. But if you pull some of this insulation off, there was no rubber. It was just basically fabric. Like all the old houses in the 30s and the 20s, all the wiring had just like paper and fabric insulation. And I think that's really neat. Obviously, this can't stay in the vehicle. Press down again as quickly as possible. So there's some kind of like, you know, double clutching type of stuff going on. Always park truck in low axle range, obviously. Maybe it didn't have a parking brake. Maybe you had to leave it in gear. That's how you kept it from moving away. 2-speed axle shift from low to high axle. With accelerator down, move lever to high. Remove foot from accelerator and disengage clutch. This will allow axle to shift, after which re-engage the clutch. Yeah, it's basically instructions on how to double clutch your rear axle. That's pretty cool. There's no floor in this. Not much of a firewall either. I'm gonna have to figure out some creative ways to get this whole cab to work, but it's pretty nice anyway. This is a wiper motor, and it's quite possibly aftermarket. That's gotta go. It's pretty cool. What does it say? American Bosch. This is an American Bosch from 1946. I'd like to put my switches up here, since there's lots of space, and leave this historic looking dash empty, except for the original controls area. I could put like a start switch and a kill switch or something, or I don't know. What do you think, boys and girls? Did I score for $200? You think it's worth building into a rat rod rock crawler? fascinated to know what it weighs now. Yes. Well, I don't know how we did that. 266 pounds for this whole cab. That's with the heater removed, that was 10 pounds. We got the glass removed, don't know how much that weighs. Removed some stuff off the front and just cleaned out the nuts and bolts and tools out of from underneath where the seat would go. 266.4. I'm gonna round that down because there's still some dirt in there I gotta vacuum out. 266 pounds, this entire cab. I am very pleased with that. Good. I know it can be done. It'll be a lot of work, but I need the content and I don't have the money to do other cool stuff like build this Dana 60. So let me know what you think about this. Please like this video. Please share this video. Please tell all your buddies about this new build that I'm building in my shop, my small, large garage shop thing. And then join me in the next one, because I really like building this stuff. I like sharing it with you guys, and if I can make someone else smile, or if you want to like trash talk my build, come hang out with me in my shop and stay tuned for more live updates, because this thing is gonna be awesome. See you next video.